Today we're going to be watching last year's World Finals, 5-game epic series, DRX and T1. DRX had been clowned by T1 in the past, and they had to fight to overcome. So we're going to take a peek at it as we get hyped up for Worlds, which is starting in less than a week with BDS playing against Golden Guardians. So if you haven't seen this before, you're in for a treat. It's a good series. There's a lot of action. I hope you guys hang out, and feel free to come into the Discord. We're hanging out, watching it live there, and happy to get as many opinions and thoughts on the game as you want. So here we go.
Here we go then, on to Summoner's Rift for game one of the World's Finals. It's been 3,318 days since Faker won his first World Championship. 1,050 games, 190 patches, and he's looking for another. It's been a damn long time.
190 patches. This is kind of crazy. And that being said, he won 3 titles in 4 years, so it's been 5 years since he's won, right? He's long past his peak.
On the edge of their seats for the greatest organization in the history of League of Legends, T1 and Faker versus DRX, the greatest underdog run in Worlds history.
Play-ins to World's Finals. They've just been.
That's right. I forgot that they were in the play-ins. Gosh, they were the 4th seed out of Korea, right? Proving that region deserves the 4 spots. I'm glad that Europe and North America are having to fight for it. I am not sad to see Heimerdinger meta go.
And definitely looking at junglers both starting bottom sides because the top lane matchup is so volatile. Zeus is one of those few top laners that
Silverheimer is like auto prio in the bot lane. You get instant push from everywhere.
On the top side, and we want to see if Pioshik or Owner will get there first to influence it. This can really snowball and damage the minion wave control afterwards.
All right, Pioshik gonna go ahead, clear out that Gromp second. Just go ahead, make sure he's maximizing that EXP. Just gonna continue pathing towards that top side.
Did Owner fail Smite?
There's gonna be a lot of conversations about this match.
Hold on. Look at his Smite here. Okay, no, he has it. Yeah, so right there, he doesn't need to attack it again. I don't know why he did. Took another hit. Could have just started walking away. So it wasn't as bad as I thought. I thought that he might have like missed his own leash, pulling it towards Raptors, but instead it's just that he spent that extra hit. Red into Raptors means he should be going for Gromp next. And it usually means that he's going for a three camp gank. For anyone who's watching, if you try to do any path that puts you at level 2, it puts you behind in tempo, and you have no business responding to anything that the enemies do. So you make sure to do a start that gets you to level 3, that keeps you flexible. So now, for example, Lee Sin on 3 camps can come over. Now, so he wanted to be topside, he wanted to be present. Right, so he wanted to go to topside. He's choosing to path that way. He knows that he was spotted by Ward on red. He goes up, but you still make sure to get yourself a path that gets you to level 3. And also note this, always take the small camps first, because their respawn timers are vital to your ability to level up. Okay, people often go and they're like, I need the buffs first. I need the buffs. Well, on Lee Sin, what are you actually doing with the blue buff? It's not actually accomplishing anything. This is wonderful right here. This little mini game in the jungle, the fact that we have a red started, but then Lee Sin counters it by going to the Krugs. Like, this is absurdly strong. Tries to pull it away. They're having a little mechanical battle here, fighting for every resource. They each get half that camp. Aatrox is not quite as strong as he was for last year's Worlds, but he is pretty close. He is going to see some play, but he shouldn't be that 90% presence like he was last time. I love that Lee Sin is still hunting here, right? Blue buff still available, right? One of the things that you're doing is you're ensuring that you're not ever giving it away. You're still leaving it up on the table. It's always something that you can get for yourself. And this was back in the old jungle with the old ranges. You could pull that red buff into that bush, and then once after you pulled it in, you could come back, step out, and then step right back in, and it would be right at the edge. And this is one of the things that they wanted to get rid of in this year when they made the jungle much more accessible. They did a good job of making the game easier so that autofill junglers don't just grief games. You've probably noticed that the level in your games has gotten higher. That's because there's less discrepancy in junglers. Jungle is still the most impactful role by far. So you're still going to see the top climbers always be the junglers. But it's fascinating to see like the level of mastery that they had. And there's still small things you can do, like which camps you can pull, which you can't, which ones you can't double any camp. You can almost do it with blue and Gromp, but most of the times what you're just going to see is the person starting the jungle camp dragging it over as it's dying and going from there. So we have double early ganks through the Azir, playing inside out. This is our favorite way to play the game. So DRX should have a substantial lead, not just because of the kill, but just because they made 2 visits to mid. Even though you're getting outplayed in the jungle, 2 visits to mid means that you have an advantage here. Ooh, Deft with a really bad death here. I like how he flashed and then healed, right? So he waited to the last possible moment. He's still dead to any action here. E-flash from Lee Sin. You see that he goes E-flash. That was not a moment where you necessarily needed to E-flash versus flash E, because there's no threat of the guy flashing again, but you want to make sure that you're getting past any sort of like spell shields or whatever other cooldowns, and you better believe that they're tracking for that. So you want to give that person the fewest frames to react at all times. It is just better. That is why you always see them do command plus flash to buffer it. That way they arrive. That's one of the things that's actually interesting about Briar. I don't know if it's intended or not, but Q does not seem to be working on Briar. When you Q, you should be able to Q from a distance, and then when you walk into range, the Q should just cast. That doesn't work for Briar for some reason. Also, you can't Q flash, which is super bizarre. So you can flash Q, and it's like pretty quick, but it's not instant, right? That there's a big difference there, and I don't believe that it's intended. I believe that it's just still a bug on the champion that they haven't addressed. What's up, Bunk? How you doing? That death in the bot lane was bad for so many reasons. One, they were already winning the game through mid, playing inside out. Two, the fact that it happened during a recall, and then you had to wait for the extended play, an extra 15 seconds of running around, means your support's coming back to lane as you're respawning, so you actually lose about 45 seconds. Rather than your normal recall time, you're losing about an extra 30 seconds to 45 seconds on getting back to lane, because your support can't really do anything. What are they supposed to do? Go and push the lane as Heimerdinger? They can't really do anything. So that staggered death right there. Oh my gosh. That death is just so bad for DRX, and we see perhaps a little bit of nerves setting in. Now, a lot of people gave some grief to Piosik about that, but honestly, Varus empowered Q has such a high execute threshold that I believe even at this level before, now with the Pokemon and the jungle upgrades, I think the Varus Q actually outdamages the Smite at this rank. So it's it's unfortunate, but it's something that can happen even still today on these patches. There are going to be, I mean, the jungle being different is the biggest thing that's going to make this game so different to watch. The leashing is different. The fact that there's no jungle Pokemon, no companion. The fact that the leash ranges are so high. I believe the respawn timers are still at 2:15 in this environment. I don't think that they are 2:30. They went from 2 to 2:30 to 2 to 2:15, right? Big fight. We have Prio. Ooh, bundled knockups. Azir ult. I don't know if they wanted to interrupt all of the ups there, but that's what happened. Azir combo into Yone. Fantastic combination there. Not quite as strong as Maokai, but definitely one of the strongest combinations you can put together. Plus, you have this ridiculous endgame scaling from Yone and Azir that's going to make this team super powerful. Varus has long range wave clear, so he probably goes for like Bork, Manamune, and then lethality items. But not positive about that. I would not expect him to go on hit, just because his job is probably going to be the like off mid lane wave clear, let Azir and Yone dominate in sides, and then push people together. There we go. Yeah, that's such a beautiful scoop. 3 people pushed into 4 people scooped by the Yone is just such a good combination. As always, we preach win the fight, not the smite. Varus with a 20 CS lead. That's what we were talking about with that tremendous advantage. Sivir's supposed to be just fine into Varus, right? Because Varus's cooldowns kind of align with Sivir's ability to spell shield. There is a few windows, right? You can get 2 casts off per spell shield, but it's still like, what are you doing in the meantime, right? If she can cancel every other spell that you're casting, then she's totally fine in that situation. And she's really nullifying your effect. Varus does have the range to deal with Heimerdinger turrets, which is one of the things that you can do. What should we do? Should we do commentary on or off? I feel like there's enough to talk about. I do like that they paired Lee Sin with Azir, not just for the AP/AD combo, but also you have these, giga scaling champions in the Yone and Azir. So you're giving yourself the best chance at winning early game and scaling through by picking a winning jungler. Only one that could do it even a little bit more would be something like Trundle, but Trundle has taken a huge dip ever since they changed Zeke's convergence. Trundle has just not quite had the continuation. You kind of have to build him as a damage champion. And when you do that, he has a lot of issues, which means that he's basically relegated into counterpick territory only, where he gets used against Aftershock champions, specifically like Rammus and Sejuani, who are going to have huge stat bonuses. And he tries to steal those and then get into the fight. But most times he's going to be building a Sheen item into like Cleaver or even Wit's End, and something to keep him going into fights, whereas before it was very easy to play him as a jungler, especially in the 230 respawn era, where you could just get in the face of the enemy jungler. There's no one that could carry. You could just spend a lot of time beating them up, and you had the Zeke's convergence, so that on 2 items you were just as big as you needed to be, and then you didn't need to get any more resources for the rest of the game. Now things have kind of changed. Trundle was one of the champions that benefited most from the jungle changes, though. Being able to AoE down the camps made his clear speed significantly better. He actually, I believe, was the very first champion that got nerfed this season with the changes. Beautiful combination, but here we go. Do you actually win the fight or no? Renata Glask ultimate at rank 1 is kind of a fake ability. It holds people in place for 3/4 of a second, but it's really just meant for your team to reposition. It doesn't do anything more than that. It's 1 auto attack. No one has enough attack speed for it to trigger for longer, so they just get out. And they don't do enough damage for it to actually matter. All right, check this out. Aatrox tried to use a window to roam over, but he actually just gave away a plate. This wasn't coming out of base, was it? No, because he's got 893, so this wasn't even coming out of base. He just tried to find a window to get out, perhaps not feeling strong into this Yone. This should be the strongest point for him, though. He's this level 10 is Aatrox's best chance at being solid against Yone, and he's got plated steel caps and serrated dirk versus Berserker Greaves and Vamp Scepter. This is only going to get worse once we see this presumably Bloodthirsty, maybe an Immortal Shield Bow being picked up, but this should be Aatrox's window to win this. Heimerdinger roaming up top, using your roam windows, especially when you see that there might be rotations, is a great time. Sivir's going to come down, collect this wave, and then probably move over to mid. Heimerdinger gets to stay in Fog of War for a long period of time, potentially stop any kind of counter ganks. And Aatrox may be calling for this because Kingen is saying, hey, look, Yone is just spam pushing into this, and Lee Sin we know was bot side 45 seconds ago. He's likely to come up top. If there's going to be any play that comes to us, then we want to be able to answer it. And this is where you see the relative power of control wards in organized games versus solo queue games. In solo queue games, your team is rarely getting all the benefits that it needs off of the vision tempo, and even the time it takes them to clear a control ward, your team gets something done. In solo queue, you're basically inting away 105 golden experience, right? Like You're spending the money, you're placing it. They're spending time that they wouldn't be using very well anyways, or at least not optimized. And they're getting rewarded for it. Stealing your gold, getting their own, and going from there. All right, let's see. We have Azir with teleport ready to come over for this. You see that they have these wards behind them. So if any amount of pressure... Oh, Aatrox dashing in means we might have an Azir teleport. But they're going to say, you know what? We're actually just good. Aatrox moves in. You can retreat. We can push. I'm actually surprised that they didn't opt for the fight here. They should have Silas's teleport timer. And they should have seen him in the bot side river. And if they had, that was 100% an opportunity for an engage. We have Crown of the Shattered Queen from Azir, which is going to influence how much gold he has in this game, or how much raw damage. It's like enough, but you see that chunk right there? If that were something like Luden's instead, we'd be talking about a significantly higher burst of damage. Also, he went for anti-heal, which does make sense. It is the one of the worst stats in the game. The Nullifying Orb, though, is the best source of anti-heal. Spellcasters are much easier for them to get the damage spread out, unless your name is something like Ashe. Okay, this was something I remember talking about live when we covered this back in October last year, or maybe it was November. The I hate that Varus went Immortal Shield Bow here. I understand that he's going Shield Bow, like, I don't want to get dived, it's my job to be solo, but look at the combination of 2 Shield Bows and Crown. They're very much saying that we just don't want you to kill us in the early game. You have a lot of all-in potential. We just don't want to give Viego resets, okay? But Varus's job later is not going to be to auto-attack for 15 seconds. I don't think that Rageblade is the correct choice at all for this game. I much would have preferred Manamune and Lethality. Go Edge of Night as your defensive item so that they can't get on you from there. And play for the scaling. I feel like they're giving up a little bit too much, and they're always going to be putting themselves into danger, into harm's way, to try to get auto attacks off. And so this combination of double shield bow, Crown, so defensive, I feel like it gives too many windows to DRX. Now, full disclaimer, the only game that I remember the result on is Game 5. Because I know who won. So I don't actually remember who won these games. So it's exciting to see these things. I wonder if this take was just wrong, but I have a feeling that they're going to give up a little bit too much to eclipse Aatrox and Divine Sunder or Viego. Like, they're going to be able to get in and deal enough damage. There's not enough threat coming back to them. And especially we're going to see it when we see like macro assignments where they're going to move. Where is Varus comfortable going? It's pretty difficult to play Immortal Shield Bow correctly, right? Like, knowing that you can be a frontline source for your team to move in places. Oh my God, this is just huge. And you almost get the reset though. The Renata Glass getting them to come back to life. Just so close to getting that kill. But yeah, walking over through that tri-bush when you don't have any vision of the river seems like a pretty big punt. Let's see, Azir's going to play for mid lane priority. Lee Sin is hovering closer. They know that there's 4 bodies in DRX close to this dragon. They've opted to fight for it. Now, one of the things that does happen when you get these Dragon Slayer stacks, it does take you a little bit longer to kill the dragon if you're the team with the lead, right? So when you kill the first 2, which were the easier 2 to kill, the third one, not only does it double its resistances, but it also, you have 14% mitigated damage against it. So see how it takes them a little bit longer? It looks like they could have gotten that entire thing burst down based on the other speed, but the collapse, I forgot about this. DRX just getting pulled left and right. There must have been some kind of call that they could punish Yone for that move, but they end up giving up their presence in the river to not get anything, including spilling the dragon. So if they lose, it's going to be entirely on that macro decision right there. Oh my gosh, Faker scooting around, going for that solo kill, knowing that he has Renata to back him up. And they say, you know what, we can continue this play. All of us have built healthy. All of us have built extra resistance on items so we can sustain these fights for a little bit longer. But you see that the damage is kind of low. Aatrox could have a field day in a situation like this. But T1 getting the huge one. All of this snowballed over giving up the river. You gave up the river. Azir pushed mid. That mid prio turned into river prio. The enemy team loses vision of you. You see these 2 control wards right here? This is vital. All right, 2 control wards and you push up. You put your turret there. Now you ensure that the enemy team will never get vision of your mid lane. You already have the 2 control wards. This is something that's worth pausing to talk about. Actually, I'm going to pull this up. I wish I could just zoom in right there. Oh, you know what? Do I have pen? Epic pen. Do I have it? Did I uninstall it? Okay. All right. So here's what we're talking about. Freehand. Vision. They've got the control ward here. Let me get a better count for this. They've got a control ward here, then Azir pushes up and turns this turret on. What this does is it shields all the enemy vision from coming any closer than this, all right? And so your team actually gets to move into these areas uncontested and the enemy team doesn't know where you are. So by getting mid lane prio and because it's at the same time that they came down here and they said, all right, let's get our wards here. They've got all this presence, right? And they bring 4 champions here to try to punish the Yone. Instead, in that same time, T1 gets that mid prio, and now they get to come in here all the way in during this little engage, and it happens. Yone actually baits them perfectly. The timing of using his E and his R to go in, get a chunk, to try to bait them into the rest of that fight. They're unable to consolidate because he has the Spirit Leech to come back. Means that T1 actually gets all the way in. I'm going to go see whether or not they actually put this ward down. The control ward in this bush is the most important bush in the entire game. When it's ocean map, you absolutely must control this bush because you can suddenly wall off their vision by standing over here. If you have this control ward, they actually lose sight of your entire team in this entire area. So let's go back and take a peek at that. This was a very long, delayed fight, so we're going to go all the way back. Okay. So you see this, they have full control of this vision. All right, so they end up with just a normal ward here, but they try to consolidate onto this. Now this vision, the fact that there was no control ward down for DRX in this bush means that they lost vision of what was happening here. The dragon got pulled out. They weren't able to hold on and realize the urgency of the situation coming forward. Not just that, but this fight's about to break out, and if you were going to turn on vision, your team doesn't see into this bush, enemy team does, so they can go in and out of it to gain cover. They also see you moving past here. Your only point of protection is right here all the way back on this bush, which isn't a great spot because then you're playing with the fattest wall in the entire game at your back. So Azir is very confident in stepping forward. He's like, yeah, absolutely. Here's the Yone ult to completely pincer. Also helps him to get back to his own team. Means that they consolidate the kill onto Sivir. They get to push up. This will be a dead turret. And all of a sudden, all this vision that they place down is meaningless. It doesn't do anything, right? All these wards are accomplishing nothing. Now, kind of weird situation for Azir. I don't think he's actually baiting for his team. When you consider, like, going this way, again, you're going through the vision that they already have. Yes, you have 3 control wards laid down in a line here, so you know that no one's coming through you this way. You know that your turret sees Sylas, but enemy team just retreated. They're in here. I don't like the idea of putting these walls at your back. You are stronger, So I could see a world where you're saying, all right, we're actually stronger here. If they want to reach for me, I'm happy to buy my team the time. I also have my ultimate to be able to bait this. So if this is a bait, which it could be, you know, I will give pros credit, especially pros who have been pros for as long as Faker has. I will give them credit for plays like this being intended as a bait. And if DRX jumps on it and gets further expelled out of this game, it's because they have inexperience, right? Deft is the only experienced player on this team. There's a couple, like Barrel's been there. Piosik has been at some world champions, right? They've been there, but Deft is the only one who has like vast experience, and Deft has never won, right? This is his time to beat T1 in the moment that it matters most, right? In this sort of like anime redemption arc. Perhaps the most pressure in the entire game is on him. So there's going to be pressure disadvantage for this entire lineup. And coming over here, if you can bait this play, which is exactly what happened, then it just looks like a wonderful situation for them. I think the idea is, hey, we're close enough. I can start this fight. And even if they accept it, and even if they kill me, they're still going to lose. And we have Renata that can keep me alive while my team's coming over and compiling onto them. So it's actually a fascinating combination of things that is leaning into psychology, not just the raw X's and O's of who functionally wins here, but also can we bait them into mistakes because of who they are and who we are. But anyways, massive advantage for T1. They get the almost 4K gold lead and 3 dragons. So from here on out, they should be fine. They've got the scaling from Azir and Yone as well. It is Rageblade, which is the highest scaling version of Varus. Apart from AP, but AP is a little bit squishier and more like bursty. As far as just straight 6 items, what can you do in a 15-second fight? Then on hit Varus is going to be the highest source of damage. I was really surprised to not see the ultimate from Faker right there. Perhaps they were trying to set up with Yone, right? So Yone felt like he had to cast his ultimate here, but we already saw what they're trying to do with Azir Yone. They're trying to partner up, push into Scoop. Kind of reminds me of working at Friendlies. You dig into the tub of ice cream, and it's like you scoop, you push ice cream up against a wall, and then you dig the one big scoop. Now that all the soft ice cream is in one spot, then you can scoop the whole thing up. That's exactly what it is. We'll have to call this the Friendlies comp, or maybe the ice cream sundae. Azir into Yone with sprinkles on top if you include Maokai. Maokai has a decent enough early game. And then when he casts his ultimate, you can actually line people up because they'll do like this, right? If the tendrils are coming at them, they'll say, all right, let me line up so that only one tendril hits me. Well, then Yone can just go and ult straight through at that same moment that they're all trying to dodge. And they have 2 options. Either dodge the Yone ult and step into Maokai ult, which is the better option. 3 people get hit by Maokai, 2 people don't get hit by anything. Or 1 person gets hit by Maokai and 5 people get hit by Yone. Now they're just flexing a gold lead here. Good little side steps. They can be patient. They can just go clear the wave, right? There's no rush. This is something that in solo queue people will always do. They're like, I need the kill. I need the kill. Well, let's just wait for cooldowns. And while we're waiting for cooldowns, we'll push the wave in. Like, everything's okay right here. Baron as well, like, right? They've got all the empowered effects that they need. And this is just turning into a stomp. So, you know, maybe the Immortal Shieldbow is just offering enough, like, hey, we're going to outscale anyways, our comp's coming together. Maybe the call is even from the coaching staff. Let's take a safe approach and expect them to just fail because of nerves. I would never want to tell my team, like, hey, we're going to play safe in game 1, but if you did say we're going to exploit their mistakes in a certain way, then that makes sense. All right, DRX, this is the best option you have. Inhib is down. You have to make a Hallelujah play, or a not Hallelujah, Geronimo. This is your one chance. Enemy team has not shopped. If they get to shop, you definitely lose the game. Supers will be coming into base. I remember yelling at the screen when this happened that DRX just had to pull the trigger. You had to do something. It doesn't matter how unlikely it is. That is your best chance and only chance of winning the game. You are now in checkmate. The gold lead is too staggering. It's not just about piece advantage or anything like that. You are actually just getting crushed here. This teleport was awful, by the way. It was right before this replay kicked in. Look at this teleport. It's happening in bot lane. Right here. Why are you teleporting? There's nothing to be gained here. There's a minute till the dragon. If the idea is let me get prio in the bot wave and then come on over, it's too close to where the enemy is already strong. You already know that they came here. You saw their teleport behind you. Enemy team is in this area. The most you can do, and it's still kind of risky, is to push this wave and then step back. But if that's what your goal is, why didn't you just walk there and then have teleport, right? Or together you can say, all right, supers are pushing in top. We can push in mid. We've got the Azir turret will be on cooldown, but we will be able to push up for free. And then we have the teleport if we need it, or even top laner goes down bottom, holds the teleport against any kind of Sivir, Viego engage, Aatrox, like everyone just dive in and dogpile, and then you can teleport on top of that. But this teleport is going to kind of walk Yone into a really awkward position. I wish I could see where he goes, but we can kind of extrapolate. So he definitely pushed that wave. They definitely answered it. And then they came into this eastern quadrant, but Varus and Lee Sin are not here yet. In fact, where's the fifth body? See 5 reds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Who's There's Azir. Huh. Okay. Yeah. I mean, even up 9k, you're giving them what they need. They need to try to get lucky in a fight, and starting a fight 5 versus 2 is exactly what they need. They get to press up here, and actually, as you move to get your team together, if Zeka can come here on Silas and ult right across this line, he could get a fantastic situation for himself. Let's see if he goes E into R. He's hiding a little bit too much, maybe. Should be E right here. If he just E'd into R, they actually just win this fight 4-0. They didn't. Oh, they had vision of this too. Oh my goodness. All right. So the fact that he hasn't done that is a colossal mistake. He's holding it and holding it. Only gets it for 1. If he had done this from the dark, oh my goodness. They could have gotten 4 kills potentially for 1. But this was demonstrably bad macro from T1. And Zeus is actually the least. Well, actually, the whole team basically is fairly young, except for Keria. But taking this team, punishing the mistakes, right? Letting them go, and this teleport just made absolutely no sense from Zeus down to the bot wave. So now you're actually getting something back. Azir dutifully pushing up. Zeka can't really go for much here. The big wave is in his way. You can't connect your E. They will get dragon for themselves. Lee Sin, you're just here to harass. You're not really accomplishing anything else. But if you are making them take more time, then that can be its own victory, because it's going to allow for supers to get further. You know that Silas is in base. Maybe you have an engage here. You can go 3 versus 4 is still not enough. You need Renata to get here. This was another weird teleport by Faker. It's like they're trying to force something out of it. Anyways, coming out of this situation, you've got 3 minutes left on the top side inhib. Sorry, a little bit less because there's that delay here on the recalls. So probably 5 waves, maybe 4 waves left on top side inhib. They just broke the mid one. Now you can come on over. You're not getting any shops, but you haven't really. No one should be at any spikes right here. Maybe Varus, because Varus didn't get caught up on any of the fights here. He might be looking to finish Wit's End, but they also didn't get any kills, right? They didn't really make any gold. No one's sitting on extra gold, so it's not like they can get anything else. So I like that they stay on the map here. They grab the blue buff, come on over, start pushing. Now this is where that teleport would have come in handy, right? Like this is when you want it. You've now got supers barreling into 2 different lanes. Now you want to come into bottom, and you want to be able to get here fast so that you can push at the same time as the supers are pushing in the other waves. Okay, owner just dashing into kick. Okay, interesting. It's actually a pretty decent chunk of health gets eliminated there. And again, we finally get into this situation. Oh, the Berserk actually runs Kingen away. His whole team kites because they're not getting hit. So Aatrox just gets to walk away. It also was a rank 1 Renata ult. It's worth mentioning. If it's rank 2, that might last long enough for them to actually find that window. They should stay here. There's no reason to back. Renata's refilling and getting amped home. I don't like this. It's exactly enough time to recalibrate and get another wave pushing in bot, but now you're stuck on your currency is one wave. You have exactly 30 seconds of pushing bot with waves coming up. So they can actually choose, DRX can, to not defend, and they can trade all of your time and effort to go into bot wave while they clear top wave. And when they're clearing top, they're getting all the gold and resources that have been funneling into them. Sure, you get another one, but now their inhib respawns and they'll be okay, right? You haven't actually gained anything. You've just traded one inhib for the other. And in the meantime, DRX has been gaining all this gold from supers funneling in. So this has actually been a pretty demonstrable mistake from T1. They need to be better with their endgame macro. Now with Baron coming up in 30 seconds, they don't even make an attempt for this bot wave. They do have, let's see, what's the level advantage? 15, 13, 28, 44, 58. Let's see, just compare them. 10s, 15. Sivir's up by 1, Azir's up by 1, Owner's up by 1. All right, so they have the level advantage. That does mean that their minions are going to push slightly harder on top of the fact that it's supers, but just looking at this wave right here, it is going to push. The reinforcing wave is going to come in time though, so it's going to be, this is pretty much the stalemate spot. Even when your waves are stronger, it's enough on their side that you win by a little bit, but then their wave reinforces, so they win by a little bit, and then you show up and you win by a little bit. It's going to need a little bit of prodding. This is where a champion like Ezreal would be fantastic, where you could just throw one ultimate at the backline here and help to push the wave as your wave consolidates. All right, let's look how they control vision. They make sure that they get this line right here. All right, they want to see anyone coming in and they want to control anyone going through. Now, all right, this is a mistake. They're pinging bot. This is a mistake. You see how top doesn't have any supers anymore? They're already top side. They have vision on top side. They have a bigger wave pushing in top side and like better reinforcements. And it's a less defended space. They should 100% be pushing top, not bottom. Instead, they make this super long trek. I guess the idea is, all right, we're going to put 4 bottom and Yone top. This is fine. I would have preferred not to waste 4 people's resource. You could have done it with 1. That said, Yone can choose to abandon the top push and go through middle and then ult in through the side on the team, but he could have accomplished that from the other side as well. So they are actually netting themselves less damage. It does put more ranged champions in front of the turret, but I don't think that the loss of the extra 25 seconds was worth it. Especially versus a Sivir, right? Like Sivir's going to have the best wave clear in the game against Baron minions. She's the only champion with substantial AoE physical damage that is repeatable and sufficient. I like what they did here. Lee Sin going in through mid, empowering the minions, saying like, no, these are really going to be all the way in your lap. Yone gets to 1-on-1 against Kingen. They come up. I would have preferred to see an engage with a Heimerdinger ultimate, for example, onto one of the sides. I don't care which one. Probably into Yone. But now they got everything. This will be ending territory. Mid lane is going to respawn, so they actually get no waves of double supers, but now whenever you break both side inhibitors, that game is truly done. Very simple from here on out, because you can ignore the side lanes. They take the longest, they build up the biggest waves with supers. You can go, they are going to grab the dragon here, but I would have preferred to have one person go to the dragon and 4 people stay mid. You could have had Yone on Dragon, for example, and then 4 people pushing mid already. So you actually lose yourself a wave. That's an extra 30 seconds on the game clock. Every wave that dies is 30 seconds longer that the game has to go. They finally do come up. Looks like split comms. Some people were thinking about branching out, but the teleport came in at that same moment. They don't get enough pressure here. I actually don't remember who wins this. I mean, it better be T1. If DRX were to win this game, it would be devastating. All right, this is what you want. You want your top lane fighter to be the one to come in with the wave. The flank, good job. They're staying back. Rest of the team is staying back, making sure not to get engaged. Let the Baron minions do their work. Now they're coming in with the empowered wave. They've got 2 seconds left, so this will be the last empowered wave, but now the supers are going to trickle in. Ooh, I don't like that from Owner. I think he was trying to show that he might harass, might even try to kick them back, and with a kick they could have killed turrets, but you could have just waited for the supers and done it right then as well. Faker off to the side. Look at their positions, right? Solo laners, the most fed guys are the ones on the points. The rest of the team's in the middle. So if the team wants to engage into you, they have to go into the middle of all your damage. And Renata ult, for example, will be the best. This is something that doesn't get discussed enough, is formation, right? Thinking about how your team wants to fight. What is the shape of your team's fight? All right. They're going for the fights. They're going for the kills. Easy enough. Get the points. Get the clean win. It was good stuff. A little bit messy. A lot of things they could have shaped up, but definitely punishing that big mistake. And like we said, that was a big blow that mishandled Dragon.
They've got a tough task ahead of them now because we know what DRX is capable of. We know that they're able to bounce back in these series. If T1 can go up to match point here, that'll be pivotal, of course, because then 1 game away from that title, 1 game away from Faker.
On. It is that their mentality, their trust in their teammates are at supreme values after the journey that they have gone through this summer. Such an arduous path they have taken to this World Finals, always being underestimated. But when you go through that many upsets as DRX, your trust in your teammates just continues to build and solidify and strengthen your team play.
First strike on Silas, not something you see all the time, but Zeka ready to go in and be aggressive. You would have to think up against Faker here again. T1
Oh, first strike is actually the more passive one.
Tank on their squad.
Captain Flowers. First strike is when you want to play passively and you want to harass with your Q.
To find the angles, find the engages, and find the plays.
Aatrox going through the draft just means you're always going to get carry matchups onto you. Can't match it with a tank. You talked about it, Kobe. Level 1. What will T1 do with it? They have the Graves. Very soon looks like he's going to go towards his red, and there's no invade to be had. You saw DRX trying to mock any kind of aggression from T1 in the early stages, but Owner will have that advantage.
Yeah, a couple interesting level 1 things as well is the Graves. Since you don't need that sustain, start with the control ward here. Owner actually holds on to his control ward, does not use it early. Zeka coming to scout the Raptors and get the vision on that as well. The other thing is Beryl on bottom side with the sweeper uses it to clean out those side brushes. If you look at the bottom side of the map, setting up those turrets on the sweeper activation for himself, very key for early lane phase.
So I'm curious who gets the bot push here. It looks like DRX in the early stages are with the turrets, of course, but it's Owner that's pathing down, and it's DRX's bot lane that wants to push, and wants to poke you on the tower, and wants to look for plates, but P06 actually pathing away from them. He can look to backtrack, but I think Deft has the lowest jungle proximity of any AD carry in the entire tournament. P06 very rarely goes towards.
All right, so you see these paths. Everyone's prioritizing, not going for full clear, but going for 3 camps into fights.
Countdown phase. P06 has very.
And importantly, when you think that Graves is coming down to you, as you know, based on what's on the late Silas ward, you want this wave to rebound. So that's why bot is pushing so hard while Viego is pathing away. So Viego is going away, and that's actually forcing. You know what? I think my camera might be mirrored the wrong way. I might have to get used to doing this. So this is the way that Viego's going. Yeah, okay. Viego's going this way. So you want to push hard so that the wave will rebound and it will start coming back to you so you can freeze while Viego's on the other side of the map. When you are weak side, you want to play in the happy spot. You want to just be comfortable, freeze, or just control the wave. It doesn't need to be a like zoning freeze where you're trying to deny them of resources, but you're trying to keep waves in one position so that you're not gankable. The answer, of course, to that is to dive them, right? You can actually double down. You can call their bluff by going even further, but that requires a little bit of extra synergy and extra execution. But you will have the push from Victor. You will have the push from Graves. So something that is definitely available for T1 to answer that is to Graves to go through mid, push, help him, and come over here and set up a dive. Now, it looks like they're trying to do it without him. Oh, that Q never had a chance of hitting. Okay, but it's a little bit of a chunk there. Can you get the push here too? This will allow them to get faster recalls. With faster recalls, they'll be able to spend their money and then come back to a potential checkmate situation. If this wave is allowed to crash, in and come all the way down, then when they come back, they're going to be stronger. They can have more money in their inventory, and the wave is going to be pushing back up. I think this is the right. The wave is coming back up, and you have an item lead. So you see that immediately. They just allow that wave to crash. They don't try to farm it all. They accept that there's a little bit of a loss there, and they say, you know what, we need to come back right now with our serrated Dirk. And it's actually Varus that comes out with the item lead, but he is going to need this as this wave comes back and balances in the middle of the lane. They're going to be looking to push. The Heimerdinger got almost nothing off of that. Control ward and boots only. Boots being pretty important against Lux in general to avoid the roots and the slows, but also to make sure that you can dodge a little bit of the Ashe harass. Or if you get hit by Ashe and they start trying to all in you, that you're able to get away from that situation. You have a similar thing, right? Camille realizes that she's weak side now, so now she's going to go for her recalls. Aatrox is going to push, and then she's going to try to come back and hold this freeze. Camille has a totally decent time against Aatrox in lane. She's able to get around his sweet spots fairly easily. Her sweet spot is actually longer, has a little bit of a bigger arc to it. They're engaging on Piosik, and they actually allow it to happen. All right, a little bit of miscommunication there from DRX. That would have been a good time to step ahead of the wave and support the Viego. That would have won them the control ward and won them the freeze. Perhaps they don't have enough information on Graves, and that must be the call. Like, we don't actually know how close Graves is. We don't want to get into a fight here where minions are going to be supporting the damage. Plus, we haven't hit our spike. Plus, if we do get punished, we will face the ultimate price of the wave getting pushed. Whereas if we win, what are we winning? A control ward. But if we lose, we're losing 2 whole waves into our turret. So calculated choice to not go in. Makes a lot of sense. Syria trying to hit both people. Hedge the bets by putting an E. No, I will say perfectly in between the two of them. But still, when you aim for 2 people at this level, it is very hard to hit 1 if you aim for 2. But little Pooch is coming down for a pet. How you doing, Ori? Okay, big little chunk there. Not enough mana for Barrel to get the rest of the combo out. Barrett's actually never gets the activation. Perhaps thought that the trade was going to go on a little further. Maybe saving it until right now. Going for the WQ. This is a good battle in the bot wave. This would be a fantastic game to analyze just looking at this wave, watching how they fight. Varus, Heimerdinger, Hash, Lux, like 4 of the premier lane control and pushing champions. All right, how much is Lux willing to give up to hold this wave? She's spending a Q. She lets the cannon in. She's not even going to try to CS it. She's just going to say, I want the experience and letting it go. I don't know about that. If you're going to recall, if you know you're going to recall, it would have been fine to take that extra damage. Good little roam by Barrel. Again, we see good timers on after recalls, supports getting on the map, being unpredictable. Don't just go straight back to your lane. If you're a farmer, then yeah, maybe you need to go there. You're a carry, you need access to golden experience, you need to get that. But if you're a support, a jungler or a support, go and do something unpredictable. All right, don't just go straight to your camps every single time. Don't just go straight to your lane, follow your marksman. No. Go show up in a lane, see if you can make a play happen. Use prio. Now that they have prio, they can go make plays together and they can either continue the play or you can go reset. And if you want to go reset, great. You can almost always accomplish more by going with your team to do something together and then reap the rewards of that play together. All right, we see everybody coming over. Are they going to send anyone to collect waves? It looks like no. But are you actually contesting this or no? There has to be some amount of damage. Good poke by Victor, putting that ultimate and the bubble over the wall. So good. DRX with a big punt there. Getting nothing on the macro, on the move.
Range threat with the Graves ultimate, with Victor ultimate, Ash arrow here from Guma. Now Deft, no summoner spells. Mid lane T1 pushing in the aftermath as well. Faker wants some money.
Zeka doing a good job sidestepping away from a lot of this damage that could be heading towards him. He'll
pretty clean CSing there, not gonna lie.
He's an incredible CS lead. Finds the E2 onto Faker. Q2's not gonna get the damage.
Look at that response, saving the bubble for the E2 cast. Once you cast E2, he drops the bubble immediately.
Not done just yet. Barrel still not level 6. Kingen goes in. Owner's the target, but now Zeus is locked down. Carry is here over the wall. It's first blood over to Owner. And T1 are absolutely outplaying. Pioshik will not find the damage yet. He won't find the damage at all. Carrier gets it. And T1 goes 3 for nothing.
Oh my gosh.
The sniper over the wall with the Lux ensures that Zeus stays upright in this. What a beautiful skirmish from T1. They bait them right in there. Calling over Carrier, lands the combo.
You hit it right there, Kobe. Carrier saves the day. 3 kills to T1 in a play which DRX were looking for. Sending Barrel up towards that top side, having Piosik hover around.
Look out how Aatrox doesn't grief for those last 3 resources. Sees the teleport, just get out. Get your shop in. Don't risk getting E-flashed onto by Camille and getting the return kill.
Man, oh man, it is not the start that DRX.
It's okay to allow a freeze.
Number 2. Beautifully played from T1 in that top side.
Now you're going to come back with enough items from that one fight where you can come and break a freeze by force. This is something that people don't think about enough. Sure, you can have this temporary advantage for one wave, and I will come back and break it because I'm stronger than you.
Ability to outplay in these skirmishes. And we've seen it in the semifinals, in the quarterfinals, them just dodging so many skill shots, setting up these even number scenarios and getting the huge advantage out of it. Another arrow lands into a full combo. It's just a big chunk, but it's while they're also getting the objective.
And they have the Herald as well, so they can push in these bot waves, force DRX.
Oh, Q-flash.
God, Carry, are you kidding me? He just sets it up like it's point and click.
Carrier says hello to his old lane partner. I'm sorry, Deft. I'm not going to be able to give you the Summoner's Cup. I want to win.
Alrighty, let's see if Faker can get away from Pioshik and Zeka. Faker doesn't make it over the wall. He's in trouble, but he gets to safety. He flashes forward. It'll be a
They need to win this execution. They should win it. They've got the numbers. They've got the cooldowns.
Zeka getting back now as well. They'll trade Barrel for Faker. DRX will take that.
T1 domination right now in these skirmishes. DRX try their best to fight back.
Alright, so I actually really don't like that they didn't use the Herald there. I like the Umbral Glaive, but the fact that you didn't use Herald means that the later in the game you spend your gold, the worse it is. Okay? It's like a picture being 6 items at 20 minutes versus 6 items at 50 minutes. Obviously, you'd want to be 6 items at 20. Right, that's in the big scale. But when you look at it right now, for example, Ashe is not going to finish.
Barrel shows up, but he doesn't land it into the gets the kill, but now Owner's ready to go. Buckshot in his
So instead of having completed Immortal Shield Bow, they just don't. And so now they have to come, they're going to have to spend another back sometime shortly to just go finish that item.
DRX are throwing at them. They're going to trade 1 for 1, and they're going to place the Herald down, funnel all this gold into Owner.
Straight from draft, we talked about.
Okay, this is another loose play. Dropping the Herald right here means you're only going to get these 2 plates.
Going to be rich, getting all the kills, getting the Rift Herald.
Perhaps they want to extend the lane phase with Aatrox Camille, but you shouldn't want that.
DRX, one of the best bot lanes in the world. Everyone was
Yeah, so they could have gotten themselves an extra turret play if he goes in and attacks first, then drops the Herald, continues to attack, then gets the chunk. That's a whole nother plate that Owner gets. And that would be the difference between him going to get his, I don't know if he's going Gore Drinker right now, but getting item number 2.
And Owner is just so strong on his Graves. Level 8, 3-0 and 2, has the Umbral Grave, and it all comes off the back of Kingen trying to find the 1v1. The flash away from the Q3 was great, but there wasn't as much follow-up damage as he might have hoped for, as Beryl did arrive slightly late with the grenade, but he manages to pick him up with the missiles.
Yeah, look at the mini-map.
Alright, so that ultimate, you'd much rather use the ultimate in response.
Snipes him with the rockets here after Kingen set it up, and it from downtown. Gomayushi hits the arrow. Owner finishes the job.
Yeah, the Ashe was nowhere nearby. He's all the way back home in bottom lane. That one came from across.
Was it Deft?
To guarantee they get the
No, who was it that had the Ashe arrow that went all the way across the map to cancel a recall to end the game?
Across the map there is the hawk shots again, just coming in constantly. You talked about it, Kobe, about how the Graves is oppressive and wants to get in the river and look for vision, and the Ashe just facilitates that so well. So bot lane's towards mid here. Herald spawning in 30 seconds. Pick onto Faker.
Yoshik gets Spectral Maw. Kingan's ready to follow. Hextech ultimatum to stay out of the gravity well. Faker will buy a moment here with the Zonias. He dies. Kingen grabs the kill, but now he's gonna get away. Zeus lands Q3 on 2, but the damage ain't there. Zeus tries to get out, but Death is ready to go and shoots him through the heart.
Zeka took away Gumushi's arrow there and shot it into Carrier to stop Carrier from being able to peel for the solo lanes of T1. Explosive fight in favor of DRX. They're going to chunk out this mid tower, but more importantly, they're going to get the Herald off the back of this play. One of the first neutral objectives DRX have picked up in this entire series.
This is huge. This is the first step in the comeback for DRX. Zeka, the most fed member on the team, 162 CS with the kill, steals that ult you're talking about. That's 2 for DRX and the Herald. No more rifts, or no more turret plates left on the map for them to cash in quickly, but it'll help with taking down one of those outer towers.
It's not just what you get, it's what they don't get. You must slow the bleeding. You must be able to stop T1 from running away with it, and DRX are finding their signs of life.
40 seconds on the next dragon. Neutral objective spawning up. T1 currently have a little bit of control around it. Carry has placed the vision down, gone for a base, refresh those wards to make sure he's ready in case DRX tries to contest. Zeka still yet to base though. Faker has the TP. He can join that fight whenever he wants. Does DRX want to press the advantage? And
See that CS difference right there? 50 CS diff.
We'll see this one again because it's the initial pick onto Faker, but it's Zeka. Look at his positioning. He's in bot lane. I think he has an Ashe ult that'll come up and hit Carry a little bit later on. But this stopwatch from Faker here was brilliant because it denies the Q2 from Kingen to allow the Chaos Storm to do damage. Arrow comes through from Zeka all the way from downtown. Stops Carrier from being able to peel to save Zeus.
Oh, she just wasn't even looking at it. Wouldn't have been hard to dodge, but wasn't even looking at it.
Nicely done. But now we find ourselves ready for another neutral objective fight. It is still almost a 2,000 gold lead for the side of T1. So DRX, they'll have to play smart. They'll have to find their moment, and they'll have to find a pick. Yoshik already going to...
I'm just going to give a moment to talk about Faker and what he means for this team. And we saw it this year, what happened when he was out, how poorly they performed. Faker is not a top 10 mid laner anymore. As a, like, combatant. Just skills, mastery, champion, like, being able to maneuver, mechanics-wise, he is not top 10. But with all the experience that he has, all the knowledge that he has about tempo and where to be in the game, he is an invaluable asset to the team. And a lot of people were calling for his head after this. Well, just not for his head, but saying he's washed, can't compete, because Zeka did outplay him. And it's kind of obvious, like, there's a difference here. But you can't underestimate, you can't undervalue what his communication is worth. So it's worth looking at it in that lens.
Nice CC on the barrel, but not enough follow-up to take.
Did he not take that much damage?
Nice CC on the barrel, but not enough follow-up to already going to start up the Drake down here. Nice CC on the barrel.
Oh, it's Bell Lux. Okay.
Turret's gonna die up there in the
That explains it.
Faker getting credit for that one. T1's not going to contest the Drake, so DRX will trade it for the first turret.
Yeah, smartly cross-mapping there from T1. Faker saying he wants the top tier 1, but I think DRX are going to Herald here. Yes, they are. So Faker will move down. Zeus will move up. They're going to get a bit sandwiched here, DRX. Barrel's very low. The Herald won't kill the tower, so they need to get the next wave in. Gumayusi has to use the cleanse.
Nicely done. Gumayusi getting himself back, but the shutdown on Owner means that
Good consolidation. Good job moving together.
The tier 1 turret still standing for now.
DRX moving together, right? Everyone coming in, delivering a punch, right? Picture like one finger hitting someone versus a fist hitting them. You can have all 5 elements hitting at the same time. It's that much more powerful. And like you can see, T1 is like in, out, in, out. Different person is coming in or out. Someone's taking damage while someone else is kiting, and that's the opposite of what you want in these fights. That is perhaps the hardest thing to train at the pro level. They spent their whole life playing on like an individual level.
T1, of course, are still in the lead, 1,000 gold, but DRX back-to-back successful plays.
Barrel is such a legend. I'm just going to say it right now. 3 finals appearances. This grenade across the top to land onto Owner to get him the first kill. I think Mikhails came out from Keria there on top of a cleanse. They were focusing so much on Gumayusi. Keep your eyes on Barrel. This guy's 30% HP on Highbringer, just walking up to T1, baits them into him, forces Zeus to flash to try to get the kill on the gap close, and then they turn it into another kill, another tower. Look how much confidence this player is playing with.
Flashes out away from Zeus. Zeus tries to follow, can't catch him. He
just the
dodges
laser.
the Lux laser, walks away, and T1 can't get any money back. That was a beautiful CC chain from DRX. It was the grenade into the stun from Viego, into the extra stun as
It'll be interesting to see what the stringent requirements are. Korea is one of the most, has some of the strongest requirements for public health safety with masks and pandemic response.
For DRX. Tier is also stacked halfway up for Deft here on that Varus. Has the Eclipse as the mythic item, so you know he's going to be spamming out some of those high damage arrows the further we go.
DRX playing mid to top here. Zeus ready on the face check. He knows he doesn't want to go to on top side because the wave isn't in a great state. Arrow misses there from Gumayusi, tried to force the cleanse out of Deft to make him so he has a bit more pressure around this lane. Does Deft want to ult him back? He's going to throw the Q. Doesn't have cleanse there, Gumayusi, but Keria, first item Mikhails to keep his AD carry safe.
And you're going to have a side lane
See the same setup, Crown, Immortal Shield Bow.
Got a double stacked wave up at that outer tower. DRX are going to take even more objectives right now. Pioshik cuts off Zeus, so Zeus can't go defend that tower. And look at the work Kingen is putting in.
Great shift here from DRX. What you innately do is you push T1 back from mid lane to make them take a longer path to top. You take a shorter one so you can respond if they want to defend. Kingen doesn't have vision around the jungle support right now, but he knows that he's taken the objective. There's nothing left to be done. Zeka in isolation against Faker, who has a little bit of wave clear. He's going to proc the crown.
Yeah, that was a beautiful intercept. Here we go, though. Steals the ultimate.
Zeka's ready to go. Everfrost to lock Faker down. He walks away from the stolen chaos.
And advantage.
40% health and no mana. So
You do that together because you realize that you have more resources available. You don't need to get the kill here. You just trade ultimates. It forces Victor to respond with his. Now you're both down in ultimate. That's fine, but you still have more resources left, so you get to continue this push.
Coming in from Faker. He just picked up Sonya as he has it for the dive. Can they pull it off?
They're going to miss the stun, but they find the second. There comes the stasis.
Oh, that's a mistake.
Faker has no ult.
You can cheer for that, but it's a mistake. Zonya's while they were moving out of range and while the other threat was in the bubble. So he actually missed out on all of his damage time. Yes, he survived for a little bit longer, but he could have been dealing damage that whole time. And then then you would have had the Ash Arrow, plus you would have had the Zonyas as other ways to bait them to take more damage. So all in all, things were actually pretty poor. I don't want to say poorly played, but there was a lot left on the table there.
To help out the top laner of DRX, bot tier 1 falls,
Okay, that's enough.
and DRX have a gold lead against T1. It's been an entire year of best of threes where they have not had a game state this strong.
It's actually so crazy how many comebacks. If you come back from that inhibitor respawning game, you can come back from anything.
Whoa! I love Barrel. Doesn't even know
What
he's
a
there.
Chad.
The
He just took
Heimerdinger.
the blast cone, man. He didn't even care that push was in the fog of war.
The only ever time DRX had a game state like this was round 2 in summer 2022, where they had Zeka on things like Akali, similar to this in game 2. But it was the GP from Zeus that stopped so much of the cross maps. DRX's macro was just too weak to go up against T1, but we've seen them take a top tier 1 from a shift to mid, take a bot tier 1 from a shift to mid, set up around these objectives, make sure they're first. The bounce back from game 1 is incredible.
And I love exactly those little plays that they make to try and help out the macro when they're pushing top lane for Pyosik to go into the jungle and cut off T1 as they're trying to rotate and answer the play, ensure they get the objective. Now they're up in Dragons as well, sacking this one with no counterplay from T1 because they've pushed out both side lanes.
T1 need to approach these fights by kiting back. Kingan's going to jump in, Zeka and Pyosik are going to jump in, looking for a reset on the Viego. Death and Beryl are going to play at range. So that means Zeus kind of needs to play frontline for T1 and try to help them burn through the divers of DRX's solo lanes.
Ooh, Beryl eats a little damage there from the laser, but one of the big
The question is whether or not this Lux build actually does anything for your team.
Is after Keria found that ambush for the 3 kills in the top lane, DRX have been doing a much better job avoiding those bindings, just like that. They're keeping enough distance.
You're basically putting all of your eggs in the basket of, I'm just throwing out Qs, I'm spamming out Qs. Yeah, I need my team to be the one that deals the damage for me. It kind of makes sense with Graves, Aatrox, Ashe, Victor, right? You're playing bot side as a win bot lane and then support my team.
He has the extra kills here on his signature Silas.
But now, like, how it's going to be kind of hard for the rest of the team to get in, and this is too little. It's a lot of poke, yes, but it's not enough damage on each instance. And you've got these champions that have high sustain on Silas, Camille, and Viego, especially with this Ravenous Hydra being completed. That is very difficult.
You're a good Fjord, just lock it in, don't be scared. Just pull it off and we'll have a good game. So he just plays with so much confidence.
Yeah, Zeka has said the same thing in his mid lane matchup when Beryl gave him the confidence saying, we are up, you know, your opponents are going to be scared, play more aggressively. Exactly citing this player.
These arrows haven't landed, have they? T1 trying to get Death's cleanse, but Beryl in trouble now.
Owner jumps in. Beryl's going to lose half HP, but without Gumayushi's arrow, DRX knows they don't really have any way to catch up to him.
3 minutes on the Dragon. There's nothing to really fight for here for T1. They just wanted to get the crab. Pyosik will face check Faker, will get chunked out a bit, but T1 needs to force this cleanse out of Death so they can get some kind of mid push. While he has cleanse up, he has that defensive summoner to push them back.
Pyosik's doing the same thing. He's trying to cut off people going to answer the split push for themselves. They've got Zeka topside. Silas pushes the wave all the way to the tower. Faker has to go respond. And they get a little bit deeper vision here for DRX, taking over behind the red buff.
Thus is the nature of a tankless draft.
Ooh, boy.
Beryl with a flash away. He'll avoid any more follow-up. Gumayushi still no arrow to try to lock them down further. Beryl drops the giant turret there as he makes his exit. DRX loses
A small victory, that's what they're taking. Heimerdinger ult is down. Can they try to force anything? Not really. Baron's the only thing that's up.
Those are the timers T1 can play around. When Zeus can push out bot wave and move towards mid, DRX need to respect it. They didn't do it in this case, but Zeus will have to go back bot, catch the wave. Kingan has pressure on that side lane. Zeka has pressure on the side on the opposite side. 3 pushing lanes for DRX.
Allowing them to take away jungle resources. These lines of wards, they fought pretty heavily for Pyosik to get this one behind red.
Yep.
Blue buff one stolen away as well. They're getting themselves step by step in the position to force T1 to those longer rotations that you're talking about. So they're always going to be a few seconds behind.
It's all about time management and tempo in this game, making sure you're always first.
Minus one cannon, though.
Didn't get it there. And the next spike for DRX is this Rabbit on Zeka. When that Silas has 3 items and gets towards the level 16, that's when you'll see DRX really start to press their advantage, try to force around Barons. Their Baron damage isn't great, but their turn is with champions like Camille and Silas. 1 minute on the next Dragon, they can play towards that Ocean Soul point as well.
And I want to go back to a little bit ago now, Kadril, when you pointed out DRX finally taking the gold lead in the game. It hasn't been by much. They've been 100, 200 gold ahead. We are dead even. 26 minutes into this game, teams are getting strong enough, both of them, to be looking towards the Baron if they find an advantage. This is the point where everything rests on a knife's edge. It could go either way, depending on a hero play from anybody, and Kingan is here off to the side for DRX, as T1 is grouped up in the mid lane. Keria goes fishing again, but just not a whole lot to find.
Remember, both AD carries have that cleanse. So looking for the picks on the other members. Ash Arrow on one side.
Check out this
Zeka
bot
not
wave
stealing an ultimate
that they
quite yet, but
cultivated
that's
for
what we
themselves,
can
pushing
right
it all
now.
in. That's actually going to be
He handles it
substantial
really
turret
well.
damage. Camille's going to come down with teleport available. They should use this moment to push up and try to get mid-prio together. They've been playing with the backseat. I don't know why so much. Woo.
Is getting dangerous. 3 item spikes are coming in slowly. 10 seconds on the Dragon Spawn. DRX are first. T1 grouping up towards mid. Zeka taking the base, has the TP ready if his team needs him.
Faker lost the crown of the Shattered Queen there from the arrow that came out from Deft, but the Rabadons is up for Zeka. 3 item power spike is in.
Zeka's been so huge. 302 CS at 27 minutes, guys.
He also has critical level 16 on the Silas. Advantage over Faker, so T1 got to give that up.
It's really hard for T1 to face check. You've got a Camille in Fog of War, a Varus ult. Zeka can take away the Ash ult. You've got 2 such strong single target damage lockdowns that T1 can't afford to step up. They're going to face a DRX on Soul Point now. It's only going to get worse. They're going to be forced to face check in once again in 5 minutes time. And we'll see if DRX move towards the Baron.
Exactly. 5 minutes is a long time in League of Legends, and that means for those next 5 minutes, Baron is the big thing. We expect to see both of the teams play around. Faker pushing out the top wave, likely going back to purchase his 3rd item now as well, I would assume, as you're going to see recalls happening across the map here from both sides. Everybody regrouping, stopwatches and control wards in inventories. We know the Baron dance is about to begin.
Let the dance begin. All the talk of Deft's last dance. Will it be a happy ending or will it be sad? DRX getting there first. Control wards already inside. Hawkshot's such a big advantage for T1 though, in being able to very, very safely keep their vision.
Kingan's grouping up. They're not actually playing side lanes right now, DRX. They're just all hovering around this Baron pit. Kingan is going to move towards bot now. Pings on the tier 2. T1 have a window to find a fight.
Beryl, the target of the enchanted crystal arrow, but he gets away.
No flash as well. Beryl's just in their face. T1 now have to retreat backwards. Waves coming
Beryl's
in.
just outplaying everybody, huh?
Kingan still in this fog of war, not pushing bot. He really wants to fight.
Here we go. DRX in the enemy jungle. Beryl's going to be found by
God, Beryl's just
does not step into the CC.
taunting this Lux.
Now being chased, has to flash out. Faker flashes in. Zeka goes
No
to
way.
the player. He's trying to find any sort of a chance he could get.
All right, what do they get?
1v4.
That's a huge loss. That's your biggest champion by a mile.
Really good timing here for T1 to commit to the pick onto Zeka. It's still going to cost you an extra turret as DRX are able to shift over to mid lane, but getting that kill, getting the flash as well out of Zeka, out of the Silas, can set themselves up for a
Dude,
big,
not only that, but that's a full minute that he's off the map. They can take their full reign of everything right now. You got a huge gold, you got the shutdown, you get to move up into the game. Yes, you lost a turret, and so they get some gold back too, kind of equal in the gold, but you got the experience to come back. Victor's up at 16, you get everyone over there. Lux is going to be hitting 11.
Level 16 on your solo laners like this means you do want to press the advantage. Stopwatches across the board. One fight will blow this entire game open either way. Kingan wins this fight, but he's looking for the blue buff.
Kingan level 16 compared to the level 15 of Zeus. Pretty big difference. Oh, beautifully buffered with the hook shot. Kingan gets out from what would have otherwise
Big
been
lesson.
a very precarious situation as Zeus now has to retreat and Kingan has backup. Yoshik will clear some of the vision out of this bottom side jungle. Barrel's hanging around nearby now too. Kingan keeping the push going here. Lux Laser to thin the wave.
Dude, Lux Laser's not even one-shotting the casters. Kind of bizarre. You know, there's a world where you don't want it to, right? You want to give gold to carries, but it's like you're kind of seeing how little damage this is going to be.
That way, even if one of the side lane pushers gets picked off, like we saw Zeka last time, they still get an advantage, are able to trade a turret on the other side.
Yeah, what Kobe's saying makes sense. I would have preferred to see something like Everfrost. It's still my favorite combination item to build on Lux because it gives so much AP that it makes the shield bigger. You still become more useful. You still have a supporting tool with that big AoE slow plus the root. It also lets you land your E. Mikhail's Crucible seems, I don't know if I ever endorse it as a first item. is so hard to imagine a world where you get enough out of that. All right, Aatrox ult is down. We're going to see Heimer. They're going to reposition. They want to fix their waves before they do anything. Dragons in a minute, Baron's up. They're going to try to stagger recalls. One of the things that they will do at this level is actually get one person back at a time. If you do that, it does take you about 2.5 minutes to get those recalls. But that way you're never weak enough on the map where they can punish you if they happen to have vision. If you can control perfect vision, then it's okay to send a couple people down at a time. But if they ever get the read that they think that you're going to recall, let's say before an objective, then they can go and just go straight to Baron and say, all right, you're in base. We've got 20 seconds where we're just stronger. And they have to consolidate. If they do actually get that objective, great, they win. But if you can hold them off, then you get to come back with extra money in your inventory. You get to have a big spike, and that's where you can try to punish these macro plays. But with Soul down, I believe T1, historically they will give you Soul and they will go get Baron. They will say, okay, you go get Soul, we'll go get Baron. We'll push with Baron for 3 minutes, and then we'll have an inhibitor down for Elder, which will allow us to try to play for Elder, which is normally what I think is the best plan macro-wise if you're trying to come from behind and you're down in the game and down on dragons. If you have the opportunity to trade Soul away, rather than coin flip a 40-60, you can say, okay, you take Soul, we take Baron, and then we'll turn that into pressure in the immediate sense on the map. Try to get an inhib broken and have the inhibitor down for the Elder fight, and then you can battle through the Soul that way. All right, we see the wards in the bushes. This is fantastic. Guma taking the solo damage from Dragon though means that they just get to burst him. Kind of awkward. Probably split calls on what they should do with this Dragon, but again, we're seeing like, all right, you want to fight into their wallet? Their wallet's gonna slap you. 4-3. They're gonna continue come in. Zeka's going for Keria. Interesting. All right, just wants to get one more champion down so that they can go, and especially the support with low cooldowns is gonna have all their abilities available. And so he's trying to isolate that. Oh, good job. Lean. Lux executes. That's not going to be good enough. What is this teleport? Huh? And definitely, I don't know about starting. All right. So yes, you want the Baron, but you could have just gotten there at the same time as your teammates. Right now, you're at 30% of your HP. I mean, you're going to gain most of it back because you have Ravenous Hydra. So you see like they're going to gain a good chunk of this back, but HP bars are low. I don't know that you necessarily needed to get that. Barrel's going to tank. He is behind the Baron, so there's a world where the spikes start coming in, and that could have been a problem. Don't think they needed the teleport for that. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, Zeus repositioning right there was pretty selfish. You know, relative to where Gumo was standing, the fact that Keria and Zeus both stepped up onto that wall means that Guma was so far in front of the rest of the team that they basically inted him with their position. Lux tried to answer. That's someone that wasn't able to keep track of all the cooldowns. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Keria actually lost a lot in this fight. Lost track of where the dash and flash cooldowns were. Put the E down in a spot that would only ever hit them if they dashed into it, and then missed the E2 activation when Aatrox passed through. So actually a lot to improve there as Keria. This is kind of inspiring me to play some Lux. Everfrost Lux all day long. Right, their wave clear is actually decent. Graves is solid wave clear. Q can chew through most of this damage. All AoE effects are going to be shrunk by the Baron buff. They're going to come in with adjacent lanes. Check out all the wards that they put in the northern quadrant, right? This is pretty standard. Putting all the pressure into 2 lanes. They're going to ignore the third one. Ideally, you want that one slow pushing so that it meets you in the base and creates an additional sort of source of pressure, but it's going to be difficult to actually align those. T1 actually answering on that side. You see how they put the wards in the eastern quadrant here? They're like, all right, you guys want to fight on northern quadrant? The important thing is to get a source of strength. So you say, all right, we're losing. Shrink the map down to your base and one quadrant. So we're going to protect this quadrant over here with vision, okay? We're going to put the wards there. And then with our bodies, we're going to go defend over here. And that's how we're going to defend against your top and mid push with our bodies. And then we have the wards covering to see whether or not anyone decides to move. And if you do move through there, then we know that we have our bodies in position to force a fight where you can actually get up into that top lane or northern quadrant and say, all right, we've got numbers up. Let's go after you. That's such a huge death from Kingin. Okay, sorry. Faker using vision, breaking the edge of night, then they get the cleanse, then they get the flash. So they got all these tools while Kingin's coming back onto the map. So they actually have points of strength for themselves. Lots of standing gold. So even though they are down significantly, the fact that they have so much gold readily available for this push where they still have the advantage, Varus is still feeling relatively weak until he gets back on the map right now. And as of right now, this is where they step back and it makes complete sense. Now, did you lose some amount of tempo? I shouldn't say lose it, but they used it on that mid lane push. They're not going to be able to shop. That's the problem with this is, yes, you've gotten 1,000 gold for yourself, but you're actually never going to be able to shop this because of the soul. There's no Baron to come up as compensation. So you just have to come up and use Prio to come over. So now you're in this spot where you're like, I need to use my tempo, use my tempo, use my tempo. I just constantly need to do it. And the onus of executing everything perfectly is actually pretty high. Now, I don't like that they're putting all 4 people on this. They're actually giving a window where the dragon can be bursted down and there's not enough champions here. But they steal it. They get the soul anyways. Oh my gosh. Oh, it's not even soul. It's just D3 for them. Oh, and Zeus procs him. Wow. Throne? Did they actually throw? Was this really a reverse sweep? I don't know. This game's not over. By all metrics, it's even, except for the fact that people are dead on the side of DRX. So you've got the entire moment. Now you're going to see, even though people are dead, the team is so desperate to recall. All right, this is what I was talking about, where you used your tempo to push, and then you used it to push again, and then you say, all right, well, we've got Prio in mid, but we haven't shopped, so we just have to go hard on Viego. All right, now we have to go hard on Dragon, and it's just ba-boom, 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 one after the other. It's like dominoes falling, and you have to continue going with it. Now that they finally consolidate everything, they've got the Dragon and they've got 2 kills, even though they could maybe turn that into more on the map. If they do, that will exhaust all of their tempo. They won't be able to get anything back on the map. They'll have to sacrifice someone to get recalls in. And then once the recalls come in, they'll be stronger if they survive. But instead they say, okay, we got a huge chunk. We're all sitting on about 2,000 gold here. So we're going to go spend it right now and then come back onto the map, which I like very, very much. Ash with a super low damage build. Immortal Shield Bow and Guardian Angel. That's the Lord Doms, but it's also, this is one of the least effective Lord Doms. There's no tanks to note. The Runon's Hurricane against triple melee, but those are pretty high burst sources. It's going to be difficult for Ash to get multiple auto attacks off in these fights. Actual golden inventory. Victor has a slight lead having that component towards the Void Staff compared to a Hextech Alternator. Going to be a significant higher chunk of damage there, like pretty big time. Oh no, he just has, it's completed. Did he just do it right now? What did I see? I don't know. Anyways, full 6 items On Victor, we've got 5 items in stopwatch, 5 items on control wards. Ashe has Berserker Greaves and Pickaxe, so hasn't opted to go for one of the more utility-focused boots like Swifties or Lucid boots. They're relying on damage. I don't know that they necessarily needed that because they've got Graves and Aatrox to deal all that damage. I would have preferred that she just lean into the fact that she's the major portion of their poke, especially with the Crucible coming out from Lux. Lux did finish Everfrost, which I'm very, very thankful for. I'm glad she didn't try to go for something else. It might be kind of interesting to see here whether or not she goes for Chemtech Putrefier or whether or not she goes for Morellonomicon. Oh, did Faker get baited in here by Zeus? Uh-oh, they're stepping up. All right, no, they know to back up. I like how quickly they responded to that, realizing, all right, nope, this is too far, and we back up. Move our team back together again. Wave states is always going to be something that they're considering here, right? What is the nature of top and bot wave? And you see top is actually a very substantial push. This is going to be enough to break that turret if no one goes and answers it. So if T1, if nothing happens, then T1's going to be okay. One of the problems that they're facing with 43 minutes into the game, you're not getting much actual useful gold by killing that turret, right? It's not like that turret dying is going to matter for Victor at all. In fact, it doesn't. So where is the actual benefit? Yeah, you're going to get a couple of people. Maybe Ashe gets to finish item number 6. Aatrox is not particularly close to it, nor do I think is Graves, although Graves could have a bunch of item in inventory. Anything up to like 1250 gold, they still would have bought stopwatch rather than trying to wait around for BF sword. Soul. Okay, so you have a great top wave wave state. You have top lane wave state. You've got a great bot lane wave state. So they can just stall. I don't like that there's no control ward here. All right, you're starting this, dealing some damage. Like, you're okay. You're not taking any damage, right? Because you've got the Lux. Ashe is going to lean into the poke. I like that. Flash forward from Faker to get the bubble and the R to allow them to get to the soul. And now they get to go forward. That is so well done. 2 different fights happening. We've got Graves fighting in the head, but they're going to kill Zeka as well. I mean, we're going to see a replay for sure. That was very nicely done. Ocean map, controlling that bush, making sure that you're the one that has the vision in that super, super important bush. And then the flash forward saying, all right, here's the time window. 2400 is when they're going to start coming in to try to contest this. So right before then, going in, flash forward, flash bubble ultimate from Victor. That was so clean. All right, but one person dead. Zeka was the biggest on their team, but they are getting big chunks here. Varus, this is where Varus is going to shine in this pit. If they actually might throw right here. They're going for everything in the pit. They actually throw away the win. And instead, DRX is going to take this. I don't know. I don't actually know what they're able to get from this. Presumably, they're going to try to go up in N3 versus 2. You've got 45-second death timers. Lux does not have the wave clear to stop them all. And in fact, they're actually going to get the opportunity to jump all the way on her. That is Camille's engage range. This is exactly the situation that Camille loves to find herself in. These little skirmishes that are the ends of fights, 2v2s, 3v3s, where she can extend, she can decide how long they're going to go. Now you have an extra death, 20 seconds on 3 different respawns means they're going to go in. You see Owner flashing forward to kill. Did he also smite the cannon? He did, but it's not enough. It's late enough in the game. If this were 30 minutes into the game, that would have worked, but on 6 item champions, they get to push. My goodness. I want to go back to this dragon fight. All right, so leaning in, right? Controlling this bush. This is the only bush in the game that matters when you're on an ocean map and you're fighting for this objective. Okay, so we see they're leaning forward right around 4K is where we're going to see Faker jump in. Boom, there's a burst. You see that? What did I say? 2400. You know that the dragon's going for 2400. That's everyone's chance to lean in because you're halfway to the smite range. Or I should say smite is half of the existing HP, so people can lean into the burst. But Faker goes in and says, I'm going to cast not only my ultimate, but then my E across all of them. That is so dirty. Wow. He's still got it. He's not top 10, but he's still got it. He's still good enough. Now, what should they have done? That's going to be the big question. Off of this win, reevaluating from right here. Oh, I hate this teleport from Aatrox. Huh? Like, you're not actually accelerating the push here. You're not helping your team in any way. Now your teleport's gone. Now you're in a position where you actually feel like you have to get this Baron done. And it's not 5v4, it's 4v4, right? Zeka's dead, but so is Lux. And you have Owner, big chunk out. So they're just not stronger. That's it. They're just not stronger here. They will be once Lux respawns. They'll have 20 seconds on the map. So they should have taken their recall here. This is what the correct play is. They've got the one fight. They've got the soul. I know that they're thinking, all right, we've got Ocean Soul. We'll basically be healing up. But the amount of chunks of damage that you can have from Varus, the fact that they're going to have the ability to poke with Varus, you can have Viego that can go clean up and get any amount of resets, the long range poke from Heimerdinger and Varus. And all you really have to counter that is 2 spells at range. He's actually dipping into his jungle to try to heal off of some camps, it looks like. Okay, makes sense. Okay, but now you spent everything. And here's where the pivotal difference is. Blue team, always better at defending this pit, right? The mouth of the pit faces your entrances, so you can defend it. Same thing is true for red team and the dragon. Much easier for you. Also, there's a big wall at the back. Their retreat is blocked by a wall, so they have to retreat to the sides. Not always available. So by not going out and shopping, which they should have enough money at least for like component upgrades, like the very last bits, even if it's sell pickaxe to get whatever. I don't know if he's going for a wit's end last or I don't think it's gonna be collect or anything like that. But whatever he's going for, you can get the more expensive thing. Even if you're Graves and you sell the broken stopwatch to go get a BF sword, you know, like small things like that will matter for this fight. They end up getting corralled in this 4v4 situation. Look at that beautiful, beautiful spacing, right? No one is going to get hit by the same spell. They go to the opposite ends of the pit. Each person can individually kite the ranged champions in this pit. This is such good setup where the melees have the biggest avenues and are hugging the wall so they can get away while the enemy team would have to chase you onto a wall, while the casters are here just peppering you no matter which direction you decide to go in. They're careful not to go any closer than this, right? You see this beautiful shape and you get punished. So this is just a formation diff. So nice. So nice. All right, that makes me want to play and get some game in. Let's get some game in and then we'll see game 3. Something like that. Kalista. Really interesting combination there. Now they actually kind of double dip into the on hit passive. This is probably going to cue me into support. Maybe it's a decent split. This has to be the source of things. Come here. Those get met with checkmate. Let's see, it's going to be here to here to here. That's just checkmate, right? Nothing they can do about it. Alright, there's always some like enticing ways to approach this. Black's pushing, so we're threatening this. This just wins the bishop. What's the counterplay? On? Okay, so this one's the bishop. They charge with the pawn. You take with check. They come, they threaten. I presume then you have to go over here to defend. King will take. We take this. They take this, and it's +1. King can never get in because rook's covering this file. There's got to be something better than that then. What if it's this first? No, then they take. I almost didn't want to ban Akali because Garen's so good against her, but... Where have you been? Lux is taken. Maybe I'll just dodge for my teammates. Oh boy. All right, I'm kind of just like morbidly curious about what we're gonna get here. Okay, off to a good start. Team camaraderie is at an all-time low. There's actually a world where we just try to kill these guys. You ever seen this? You ready for this? We are just going to go ham in their face. Okay, so we kill them once they cast a spell. Okay. So there's see if this guy truly doesn't know his champion. I could have dodged that to the side, couldn't even tell what it was. Balls are down. Good job by Lux. Vision, we don't. Wave's coming out, we're good. Hey, no, that's not what I wanted. Why isn't it fear? Shit. Should have seen it. Should have seen it. Okay, so we hold this here. Just Q backwards. Oh, alright, Nafir's here, never mind. I lied. She looking for a flank on them? That's hilarious. Okay. Actually kind of effective. She could have gone for that. I can support her. That was her flash.
An ally has been slain.
Now we're going to help shove here, and then we're going to go for the rest. This guy's trying to cover up for the fact that he has a bot account by saying it's my first game in years. Okay, now it makes sense. Now it all makes sense. Okay, I don't know what they're afraid of. Sure.
A summoner has disappeared.
Scheduled loss. Rip. Maybe that's a sign. Loss mitigated. +9. It thinks I should be losing 29. I've been on that big of a loss streak. Okay. You know, it is what it is. Okay. Briefing by playing 0 mastery champ. To this guy. Stop letting people buy accounts. It's not bad. We all know you profit off of, but it's ruining the game and long-term sex. I don't know. I'm trying to appeal to their sensibilities. Like, there's no reason to let people continue doing this unless they're the ones selling them. And if they're the ones selling them, then it's still bad, right? It's good in the short term to be like, hey, look how much profit we make off of selling accounts by banning people wantonly, and then go and yeah, you just end up with a worse product, a worse game that less people want to play. Is no good. Is no good. Okay, so let's see. Obviously, this looks nice. This comes here. This probably has to come here. He escapes. Then what? Or is it here? I don't think we would ever want to be here. Then he escapes and we win the bishop. Then we... No, we don't lose. We could do it either way. This would come here and then the queen could take. Oh, is there a potential checkmate here like this? All right. All right. No. It's running around. I was thinking about this might be a threat that can like pinch in the bishop after this happens. So, but this trade doesn't allow for it because then we're still being attacked here. So here, this, into that threat. Which one's better? Is there one that's like definitively better? Oh, I just thought she was being obnoxious and like kind of griefing the game. If you know your champions are gone, you're a one trick. Like just suck it up and dodge. Like there's no big deal. There's no reason to play like if your level is that much lower on other champions. And we saw it because at level 1 she went to start at red, and like at this level I expect junglers to know what camps to start. And losing Kai'Sa for a little bit means that we don't get the push. It means that we don't get to win at level 1. Then, you know, obviously the Garen has its own issues, but if your champions are gone, like there's nothing wrong with getting out of the game. All right, we need Fizz to be gone if we're gonna play this, but I don't want to ban Fizz because I might have to play Fizz. So I'm gonna try to hover this. We want to get our Everfrost Lux online. Sorry for the bad news, Lilia. It just is what it is. E's a little bit of a pain in the ass. We're going to have to make sure that we land our Qs. Might actually have to skip teleport. Lux is not someone that wants to be in side lanes, nor is she one that has trouble getting back into lane after wave clearing. So there's a world where we definitely don't need this. Might do something like this. Also, second tree could easily be like dematerializer. Could even go for extra flashes and extra Everfrosts. This is going to be a health game. There's some amount of magic damage here, some here, some here. Yeah, maybe that's enough. That's actually enough. And even Master Yi might go into some like wit's end against this combination of champions. So there should be a decent amount of resistance to get. Comet is always fine. I like Electrocute because when you hit someone and then you hit, it procs the spell hit them, you hit them, that's 2, and it procs the passive, and that's 3. So you get your Electrocute procs off basically whenever you want. Do I want cooldowns? Do I want cooldowns? Alright, Victor's gonna have a little bit of a range advantage. He can poke me a little bit easier with his E. I should be able to counter every time he goes for his E. I'm gonna try to dodge and hit my own.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Maybe Electrocute was no good here because I'm not really gonna get that many autos. But if he's gonna walk up into auto range for his own Q, then I should be able to get it off.
Until minions spawn. Minions have spawned.
Great, they changed it. I can't one-shot the passive anymore. Oh, that sucks. That's really bad for me. That is really, really bad for me. Q into ER will still proc Electrocute, but oh, not quite in range. I was trying to get him in range of the turret. Yeah, we missed it.
An ally has been slain.
I'm actually encouraging the jungler to come through mid, which is pretty bad. Right? Like, it's actually encouraging him to play well. Not that he's getting much of anything done, but it's getting him to share XP, which is getting something done, right? No. See if we can't harass this guy off of his turret. We've got Dematerializer for the cannon at 530. I don't want him to stay here. I want him to have this wave pushing towards me. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Maybe I don't. I need to get this last hit right here. I think he knew it. See how I pulled that minion towards myself? Alright, so we've got the cannon. We've got the DMAT for the cannon here. He's staying. Alright, we're gonna hit 6. We might just be able to ult the wave. Alright, we get first back. He's actually taxing himself a lot by doing all this. Question is, what do I get out of it? I don't know if this is enough. He has teleport, so he's going to be able to make up the difference anyways. Shyvana's getting a 6-minute dragon, should be okay. But now I should have permanent push advantage here. Catch to see if he's paying attention. Looks like he is. Hey, I walked into that. Alright, where do I not want you to come from? It's all the way over here. Am I just going to play this one for all game? Found him. Yeah, it is kind of tilting me that that I don't have that electrocute auto procking. This guy's using all of his resources and his ultimate, which means I get another first back off, which means that I will be able to put more pressure on him again. He's got no teleport this time, so I'm just going to play for Lux advantage.
An ally has been slain. An enemy has been slain.
I missed my thing for this. He might be right. There might be something I tragically missed.
An enemy has been slain. Double kill.
not a hit. Big flanks. Big flanks.
Turret will fall soon.
You know what's funny is every time I play Lux, I'm like, why don't I just play the Lux? This champion is such free low. I don't know. Ugh.
Unstoppable. Your team has destroyed a turret. An ally has been slain.
Alright, I need to... This guy's gonna get so triggered by, like, the smallest things. That I should probably just not do anything that's good that they don't understand. I like this teleport from Nasus. We help to siege this. Shyvana can get her own thing. Let's see, we're at 10 stacks. Kate will be enormous. Give Kate all the CS.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Yes, the minion got him. Yeah, we're huge, right? Like giganormous. Got him. Yikes.
An enemy has been slain. Your team has destroyed a turret. Your team has destroyed a turret. Legendary.
Wow. Big damage. Oh, it's gonna hit both. Oh, boom. Got you.
Your team has destroyed an inhibitor.
This champion's definitely my speed, you know what I'm saying? Long range, never get threatened, big shields, long distance spells. I see you. Oh, I've run myself out of mana. Oh no. I'm gonna give this guy Steed Cool. I don't know if he was kind of trolling. It seemed like he might have been. But, is what is. This guy's not gonna come. I'm gonna go look and see what they're talking about. What do we think is gonna be? I don't think there's anything here. Oh, wait a second. There's actually no threat of this while the queen is here. So, does that mean I get the luxury of a waiting move? No, because then he just gets to do this and consolidate his position. Do I get to do this? I don't think so. Boom. What's next? Oh, is it this? And then, nope, that's not it. I mean, simple enough is just this, and then you hide the king. You just win a bishop. I'm just going to assume that this is the solution. Now, the question is why here or here? Because there's going to be one solution, right? It's going to be one or the other, and having this access to get out generally makes me think that this square is best, because then we'll have better access to come back out here, for example. So if we go here, he comes out. I don't see another play. Maybe, I mean, it would come this. There's no like benefit to doing this because you're not actually making room for the queen to come in. There are some times where it's like slide over and give another check, but at the same time, he can just come out. So I'm assuming it's here. And then are we taking with the queen to let the rook out? And then the queen's threatening here, which would force you this way, which would give you a checkmate. I'm going to assume that's the case. Yeah, all right. That's what they went for. This right here is threatening checkmate, by the way. This is what it's doing, right? You have to block, they take. You have no escape, that's checkmate. So you have to be on point. If he comes back here, then you just throw in an interim move? No, it's right here, checkmate. No, it's still not checkmate. He blocks. In fact, this doesn't do anything. All right, this forces a queen trade, is what it does. Check, you come over here, then you get to actually take your win. Okay, interesting puzzle. Let's go see what they were talking about. was around the time of second blue. So we won our turn mid lane as far as like who's going to get the recalls here. Shaco is dead and Kate's in a 1v2. So we don't really have anything to play through on this side of the map. So my objective here is to win the pushback and use it to get room for Shyvana. Now she's fine to take this camp anyways right now to start the game. I was very happy with my last hitting here. Okay, so this guy's talking about the Victor, but in truth, the best way to punish Victor right here is to get the fast push on, especially with the DMAT charges already being expended on the cannons. So I could come here and win this, but he's also just strong here. He also won this. Is this what he was talking about? Okay, a flash for a flash. Uses E on the minions. I don't really agree with that. He might have gotten upset at me for taking that. That camp would have been his. What I was really trying to do is clear the line so that I could cast a Q. Right, with these dead, then we are capable of casting Q through. But this guy was getting gapped no matter how we cut it, right? He's already down. He's in a bad spot, doesn't have teleport, doesn't have any meaningful advantage to speak of. Down 20 CS, about to be down like 30. Plus we have the Herald here. So like Victor got completely gapped here, but and then yeah, we actually turned this into a win. I probably shouldn't have even used these resources to get this kill because he was so far behind. So there's a window here. But if you're Shyvana, like 100% of the time, you're not even cooldown based because your W stays on when you get your attacks off. If you're a Viego, if you're a Shyvana, if you're anyone, it doesn't even matter if you use mana in the jungle because you have infinite mana. Unless you're Karthus, right? Unless you're someone like Karthus that can just absolutely blow through the jungle by keeping their E on, there's no real reason to have this blue buff, and it makes such a big difference for your laners. So I don't know what he's talking about. Unless it's something before this. Could it be something before this? It's not one of these. These are all bot lane feeds, right? So Jhin got big off of like random plays in the bot lane. Okay, good job by Shaco blocking that so that there's no continuation. But that has to be at the end. You're out of resources. You can't step forward here. Now you have to get the push and just get out. This has to be just put. Guy keeps on walking up into such dangerous positions. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to like make them think that he's in a position to be aggressive. But yeah, like right here, he's forcing Kate to step up to block the W. I mean, forcing. Shaco will die and then she will get engaged on. She can go back, but then you definitely have a losing state. Or she goes forward and blocks it and then gets this engage and gets a big chunk out. That's going to be a problem for her anyways. And I think she might, I mean, she doesn't die here. Jhin could have been casting, I mean, these positions, this is where Jin's going to cast the W. Also, we are doing this while Dragon is up, right? Like pushing up. I can see some amount of trading, but you really already had the push here. There's nothing to gain out of continuing and inting your HP bar. You already had them in a pressure where you could just sit back and let the wave sit here. This bot lane can never make it to Dragon, whereas you can get there in 1,000 range, right? Like you can get there in 1,000. They would take like 1,800 to come around here, plus putting themselves in this spot, which is a position of strength for Shaco. So definitely something that bot lane can play with a lot more safety. That felt good. That game was really good. All right, that's going to be it for me. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you hanging out. We'll get the rest of the series in tomorrow. That series was a banger. We got the first 2 games in. If you want to get requests for other series that we should check out, make sure that you leave them in the comment section, and we'll get to those if you see any games that we like, and we'll break them down. All right, so I'll catch you guys next time. Keep it surreal. Peace.